Dan said, closer to capital. We've been able to implement a number of improvements to reroute things, flows that used to go to combined sewers, which you know that cause basement backups. We were able to redirect those to storm sewers. We have outfalls to Lake Michigan north of Capitol, so if you can put the runoff into that, that has no relationship with anyone's basement. So, which brings us to combined area south. So, just as a mental picture, south of Capitol Drive, Oakland to Lake Drive, and Edgewood is our box. Right? It's about exactly a quarter of the village. That's our box. So, all of that flow, including flows from Kensington to Capitol, has to get to one single point at the intersection of Oakland and Edgewood. Right in the middle of the street, there's a big manhole that says MMSD on it, and that's where it has to get to. So, all this time, and I have to admit, I've kind of been doing this project since 1999. Following, there's still a few of you who were here in 1996. We had, you know, we were exactly very near where this topic, and the manager at the time and staff, we went to MSD, a different director, and we said, you know, we're willing to do a lot with our pipes to get our conveyance to your systems, right? The deep tunnel starts 1,500 feet from Edgewood and Oakland. Right behind the baseball diamond, the pitching cage thing, it's right over there. And at the time they said, no, we're not touching this. You guys are on your own. So everything we've been doing was based on that. Which brings me to this. So in 11, we had to come up with something, right? And since MSD told us that they weren't about to give us any new pipes, new capacity to convey the water, the rainwater that we wanted to take to that point, we had to find something else to do. One of our consultants, Rupert Milkey, came up with collecting the runoff and conveying it to Milwaukee River. And if you look at the geography of how you can get from that box to Milwaukee River, Menlo is at the heart of it. And if you go straight west on Menlo and dive down in the bluff and go to the river, you can actually get something out of that box and into the river. We have had study after study, and you know what? Everyone who looked at it, from our end, people that we pay for consulting, as well as people that MMSD paid for consulting, they said, you know what, this might work. It's going to be tough and very expensive, but it could work. So in 14, we handed it over to MSD and said, you know, take a look at this, see what your consultant thinks. And we were here in March of 15, and you know, we kind of called it Facility Plan Plus, or some corny name like that, 2.0 something. And you know, so we explained it. And then, at that meeting, you were sitting over there.
Right there.
And it was decided that we should explore some additional details. Like, how would a person do this in like reality? It's okay on a piece of paper. And we were directed by the board then to go and look for engineers who could give us that framework. So if we want to take water out to Milwaukee River, what would we need to do next, right? And we knew these guys would help us, you know, in Shorewood, and our hour of darkness. And, you know, we selected them and they've been working on it. Too bad we kind of put a hold on the big results and presentation, but the report's out. And, you know, so they've given us the thing. So as Leanne said, at the same time, we've been working both at the staff and higher levels with officials from the City of Milwaukee Public Works, UWM facilities, as well as individuals from MMSD. And an idea started developing that, you know, 16 years is long enough. Maybe we can change our response. Maybe we can give you something to direct your flow into. Maybe we can, in fact, help whatever you're planning on doing by, you know, giving you capacity to discharge into. We go, oh, that's an interesting concept. I wish we thought of that. So they started kicking it around, and in fact, it's moving. We'll talk about that later. But first, we should talk about what our friends from Baxter and Woodman and Stantec has to say about what they did for us throughout 2016. Matt?
Thank you, Mustafa. So kind of scaling out from the whole big picture and the long story, coming to where we came in, Baxter when we came in to do the environmental assessment of discharging to the river, and then also to take a look at the Rupert-Milkey study that said put pipes everywhere in every street, and compared to the City of Smith model and study that said just put some pipes and a lot of green infrastructure, and kind of find what can we actually do, because we had these two different options at either end, and how can we actually look at this, what's actually going to work. So just to kind of start out, make sure everyone understands what we're working with here, and with a combined sewer system and how that applies to our basement backup. We put together this exhibit here showing our single pipe under the street, our combined sewer. But we have both our inlets from the street entering into, as well as connection from our home. These are gravity drains from our basement floors, also from our downspouts. So when we have a big rainstorm, all the water coming in the street, flooding the street, can back up and surcharge up into your basement, as I understand many in this town know about. And then also that can be exacerbated by a downspout being connected straight into the system too, because when the street's backed up in the basement, water comes from the downspout, can't push through, so it pushes right up into your basement. So just kind of want to establish what we're working with hydraulically underground. So what we did is we took the models that were previously created by Rupert-Milkey, and we greatly expanded on them, put in a lot more detail, and started playing around with some different options and how we can actually make this work. What's a realistic solution? How can we pare it down from the full build out to try to save some money from Rupert-Milkey suggestion, and the City of Smith model, you know, see what was actually really feasible there, what was actually going to work for the village. Still looking at our existing conditions, talking about our basement backup. This isn't necessarily where we have flood basement backups, but the red the red parcels designate, given the hydraulics that are reported in the modeling, so the elevation of the water in the sewer, with the assumption that all previous models we used discussed before, and working with the village staff of how deep a basement is on average in the village. In our existing conditions, in a 3-inch rain, 1-hour rain, these are the properties that have potential for backup. Quite a few. So this is kind of helping establish our baseline, and so as we look at our improvements, what effect we have on the existing flooding conditions. In addition to the basement backup potential, and it's a little washed out, I hope you can see, maybe you can turn out to a little better. This map is showing where we have surface ponding in the same rain event. So I say ponding, this is water that's sitting on the road because there's no room in the sewers for water to get down. Our light blue areas is ponding that's sitting stagnant, less than 6 inches in depth, and the purple areas are where we have ponding greater than 6 inches. We kind of draw that 6-inch line because 6 inches is about getting up to not quite the sidewalk elevation in general, just over the top of the curb, not quite to the sidewalk. So we're not creeping up yards yet, and it's still somewhat passable. And we also show in our 6-inch areas our bigger ponded areas duration, so we have up to 2 hours of ponding. So just kind of laying out what our existing conditions are. And from here, we started looking at our some of our different alternatives on how we can improve this. I'll pass it off to Mark for a minute.
Thanks. All right. As far as the, we were asked to look at various alternatives just to make sure that this was the best solution. We looked at that full sewer separation. Again, that was storm pipes on nearly every street. The combined sewers would continue to collect that wastewater and be treated by MMSD. That big pipe out to the river does create some water quality permitting issues. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has a requirement, basically says you can't decrease the water quality coming off of the area from your improvements. So we also looked at briefly low pressure sewers, which would be a grinder pump in every single basement, a series of small pipes out in the street that would then pump to MMSD for treatment. The combined sewers would be converted to storm sewers that has the same water quality permitting issues as the full sewer separation. And also it's got high maintenance with grinder pumps and really does nothing to solve street flooding. We also looked at overhead sewers or hung plumbing in the basements. What this would be is any wash tub, wash machine, floor drain that's in the basement would be directed to a sewage ejector pump. And there would be plumbing redone in the basement, so that pump would then pump anything that's in the basement overhead. So it'd have to go up, down, and then out to the street. So if the sewers, combined sewers in the street were to back up, it's not going to go in the basement, back up in the basement, because there's a check valve in between. The pump's got a check valve. The water's going to really bubble up out in the manholes and catch basins of the street before it gets into the basements. A couple of issues with this: these are all private improvements. We've got nearly 1,000 conversions to do. This does nothing to solve street flooding. We still don't solve sewage running in the streets when that overflows. Last item we looked at was this overflow storm sewer system, or what the village has coined virtual separation. So this is a series of storm pipes, not on every single street, but just in selected areas. The combined sewer system and the catch basin of the street would have restrictors put in them, which would limit the flow going into the combined sewers to help protect the basements. And any water that can't get in there is going to overflow and run down the street until it gets to the big storm system. So this overflow storm system has got, up to 72-inch pipes. These are big pipes. Again, as we stopped and talked about, out to the river. The system would also remove bottlenecks in the combined system. So you can see we've got some additional combined sewers, and an important component of that is also the Edgewood sewer that is upsized or additional combined sewer. That's an important component of this whole solution. So this approach really optimizes the capacity in your existing system, adds capacity where you need it. And as far as water quality, you would continue what you do now is that best management practice of that first flush of surface water that comes off the streets is typically the dirtiest. That still goes into the combined sewers and is treated by MMSD. So the combined sewers will take up to about a 1-year storm, which you would expect you get about a 1-inch, 1-hour storm in any year. So those smaller storms will all continue to go to the combined sewer system. It's just when you get that big storm, The water's gonna overflow and then go to the Milwaukee River. Joe's gonna talk a little bit about the regulations.
I'll be very brief, thank you again this evening, but as Mark indicated, one of the key issues about this project, we understand the engineering and hydraulics of it, how to get the water out of the basements and off the streets, but there was a question about the environmental and regulatory constraints, and could those impact the project? Early on, we met with MMSD, with the Wisconsin DNR, with the Army Corps of Engineers, and to get to the, cut to the end here, the regulatory agencies have been very supportive of the concept that Mark described, this virtual separation where we continue to take these early flows from the storm, allow that dirty storm water to be treated by MMSD, but then provide additional capacity for the larger events to make sure that we keep the water off the streets and out of the basements. MMSD will require a water course connection permit, but that's a relatively straightforward engineering solution. They like the idea of coordinating with them on the handling of the storm water. Wisconsin DNR has issued water quality standards for them